guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to another show of TMI with Maiekayla. And I have a special guest here in the room today. Can we get up for Mrs. Nevada American, Sharelle Mendenhall. We have her in the room today. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So, first of all, you guys, I just want to say how much I am so grateful to have you here on my show. I met Sharelle, maybe 2 years ago?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was like during your candidacy. You were running for U.S. Senate.
Yes.
And what do you got going on right now?
Oh, that is a very loaded question. I would say one of the biggest things that I'm focusing on right now, I actually have two, but one is the Roar Fest. And it is a community unity event that we're doing right in the heart of downtown Las Vegas.
Love it.
The venue holds 10,000 people a day. We're bringing in a couple of incredible worship leaders and speakers from around the nation.
Nice.
And then we have a lot of locals that are absolutely phenomenal, talented individuals who are going to be leading worship and speaking.
Awesome.
And I've been in meetings with a ton of different leaders and pastors in order to help make this happen and collaborate and truly make it something beyond just an event, but something that's going to have a lasting impact on our community.
No, that's beautiful. When is this happening?
It's April 13th and 14th.
You guys, April 12th is my birthday, so this is actually right after. No, this is awesome. So was this your idea? How did this all come about?
Yeah, it was my idea. So really what happened was, I know you've actually been to one of our prayer nights. And at the prayer night, we've been doing it for about a year now. And I was talking to a couple of girlfriends, and it was Madeline and Heaven. And
Nice.
I said, there's EDC, there's Coachella,
That's true.
there's Stagecoach. And I was like, what do we have?
That is true.
And so I
is
just
true.
asked that question, and then 2 days later, I just felt like the Holy Spirit wouldn't leave me alone. And so I just started writing out a list of all of these like worship leaders and individuals that I wanted to be involved with it, people I trust, people I love,
Yeah.
ones that I know truly know how to love well. And really that's where I want the foundation of this to be, is starting from that space. And when I reached out to them, and almost every single person on my list said, yes, I'm in.
Wow.
I'm in. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess we're doing this.
When everything's falling into place perfectly.
Yes,
Wow,
yes.
I love it.
And we got our 501c3 status within a month. We
so
submitted.
this is going to be a legit thing. This isn't just going to be some concert. This is
No.
going to be
No.
set in stone. Here we
Yes.
are forever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
it. Congratulations.
So, thank you.
No, that's awesome. So Sharelle, she's a beauty queen. She is you're a model?
I was.
She's a model. I just see her and she's super pretty and she's a model. She's an entrepreneur, and now you're hosting this worship event. And to also add on to it, she was also she was running for politics. So you're really strong when it comes to community, and you're really
Yeah.
strong when it comes to leadership. Like my mind is blowing up with different questions. I want to pick your brain. Well, first of all, okay, how did you get into pageantry?
The first part of getting into pageantry, I'm from Los Angeles.
Oh, what?
And yeah, so that was originally where I got involved, was in California. And it's so funny because I never grew up having this desire wanting to be in pageantry, but I really felt after Tara Rice, she's actually one of the directors out in California, and she reached out to me. She's like, hey, I think you'd be incredible to be a part of this pageant.
Nice.
Through casting networks.
Oh,
And,
wow. Were you already getting involved in casting networks, or
I was already involved in casting. Yeah, so I was already involved in casting networks. I was already doing filming. I was already doing a bunch of stuff there. But she reached out to me, and I was like, I'm gonna consider this. And it was for North Hollywood and Miss North Hollywood. And I went out there, I competed, and I won.
Oh,
my
wow.
very first pageant. I bought my dress 2 nights before. It was a whirlwind, and I even came back with my title at that point. And someone's like, "Well, that's amazing, because I thought you were just going to compete. I didn't know you could possibly win."
Yeah. No, I get you.
Especially "Oh, that was nice of you to go and run for that." But I came back with my title, my first ever, and then I saw how many doors and how many opportunities it opened up, and I remember super vividly when the floods happened in Houston. And I don't know if you remember, I can't even remember the name of the hurricane that came in, but Houston just got pummeled. And I had so many friends on the ground there, and they're like, Sharelle, the news is saying that we don't need any more donations, but people can't even get to the donation locations because their cars are broke down. The people that actually needed it couldn't. And so through pageantry, through my connections, I was able to put together an entire event where we loaded a moving truck was donated.
Wow.
And the whole entire thing was filled up with donations with kids and all these different people in communities and walks of life. And we filled it up, and they drove it down, and a bunch of us flew down, and we not only gave out all of the donations to the people there, but people had donated money.
Oh, nice.
And so as we were going through, we actually started helping to the FEMA standards, cutting out walls of the rotted walls of them. So we're going house to house, and with the extra money that was given to us, we were able to re-drywall an entire home. In Houston.
Wow.
In Houston. So part of that, as far as the pageantry tie-in, is Tara put it out to all the queens. And we had all these queens of all these different ages giving and donating.
Nice.
Even this one young girl, she actually went through her own toys.
Oh, wow.
And gave
her own personal stuff.
Her own personal stuff when she found out. And so my heart was just so wrecked, and that to me has just really shown me what true pageantry is about.
Yes.
The community, the sisterhood, the giving back. So many people have ideas of what pageantry is.
Correct.
But that to me was one of the first benchmarks of truly what it is.
And how old were you when you got involved with all of that?
Oh, I was in my 20s, so I would have to look at the date. I don't even remember.
How many years was that?
I'm in my 30s now.
You look good.
39 this year, so
Wow,
I'll be 40. I'll be 40
up.
this year.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow, girl. Well, I don't want you to feel old, but
I don't. I feel good. I love my life.
You're around the same age as my parents. But I hope you don't feel old. You're freaking rocking it.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful, though. I love that you said that when it comes to pageantry, I mean, you didn't say this, but I understood it. It's really about what you can do with that platform to really make a difference. And I know that's overly said, like, oh, I'm here to make a change, but really it is. And actually, this is one thing that I'm very grateful for, you guys. So I'm going to tell you guys a real quick story about kind of like an interaction that I had with you, and I actually needed you. It's weird to say that I needed you because we're not that close. Right. But I knew that I needed to hear from you, and I needed to, you were a voice of God. You were just a voice of confirmation from him. So a while back, you guys, I was very involved into politics and for the Republican Party. So whatever your guys' viewpoints are, that's just what I stand for. But with that being said, I got invited into a Republican podcast. And anyways, it's so easy to be hyped about what you believe in when you have other people who believes in the same thing with you. But the real pressure is, can you still stand on those same values as passionately when you have other people that don't have the same standpoints as you? So that was where the real battle was. And I remember even going to church, like my youth leaders, they used to say the battle isn't here at the church. It's when you walk out. Like, can you really still be on fire? Can you still be firm on your faith and stuff? So girl, let me tell you, you were the one I needed. And I'm just very grateful for you, because you're not going to get a lot of people who will put down their status for the voice of God. And I say that's very important. I want to speak more for, I guess, Christians who has a leadership platform. So I'm very grateful that you're in here, because so during that time, I got invited to a liberal radio show. And first of all, you guys, I'm always the youngest one wherever I'm at, and I was so new to politics, so I was really scared. I ain't gonna lie. I was scared, but I was also playing with my values, and I was also playing with my ego, and then I was just playing with a lot of different things here, different spirits, right? And And I remember going to everybody in politics saying, what should I do? Because this guy wants to invite me on his radio show and he's already attacking me. I don't even know him yet. And he doesn't even know my viewpoints on why I stand for certain things. And I'm getting attacked for names that I don't even know yet. But a part of me was like, well, Maiekayla, you were able to talk so big all these other times. Can you still stand for what you said? So I knew that I was being tested, and that was something I needed to kind of like practice for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful. So if you guys follow Sharelle, what's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Sharelle Mendenhall.
Oh, okay. It was just that simple. But her posts, like, you talk about biblical standpoints and when it comes to politics, and I thought it was so beautiful because you are really exposing demonic tactics that are happening, and everything that you were saying, it was convicting me, right? So anyways, when I had that situation with the other podcasts that were a bunch of liberals, I was asking everybody in politics that I've been working with, and they all told me, Maiekayla, you're gonna look like a fool. You don't know nothing. You're unprepared for this. And I knew that they were just trying to protect me, but I don't think that they seen the, and I guess like this is more of my side and like my spiritual side, and I know it probably sounds like, oh, Maiekayla, you're kind of in like a bubble or something, or like you're kind of dreaming too big. But I felt a conviction, and I prayed to God about it, and everybody was telling me, people who were qualified were telling me, Maiekayla, stay out of it. It's okay if you decline this. Like, he's gonna rip you apart. And I was like, okay. And I'm getting all of these posts that she's posting. She doesn't even know I'm thinking about her post. She's posting. I'm saving it. And then actually they even use your post because I sent it out. I was sharing your posts on my social media, and then I was like speaking about it to other people, and they ended up using your post for my post on the Republican presentations. And then I was just like, even though I'm young and like I maybe not know too much, the things that I'm passionate about, and if I move on and speak on it, other people, you don't know who's in your circle who's going to be affected by it. And so what happened was, I remember calling you. I was like, girl, this is a situation. And the first thing that you said is that this person may be filled with a lot of bitterness or whatever, and he just needs to see and experience the love of God. And then you said something about, if you don't do it, who's gonna do it? I said, I freaking know. I know I have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew the answer, but I think I was trying to find somebody to tell me, like, no, like, you could step out of it. So I was praying to God. You prayed. You told me to have the full armor of God. So I was really like studying the word, helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, all of that, to be shielded, right? So that's the first time I ever like really understood how powerful it is just to depend on these simple words, okay? Because y'all, let me tell you how crazy it got. So I got into the radio show. Oh, wait, no. Let me not get there yet. So beforehand, I was praying, and this is on the day of. I was trying to find every excuse in my head to get out of it. But I was praying to God, and I opened up the word of the day. And you know, like on the Bible app, you can have any type of verse, right? I didn't know what the verse was going to be, but it was about Queen Esther. That was the verse on the same day that it was happening. And I was just like, God, I don't even know yet the story about Queen Esther. But basically, her story was something about, like, she was called to save the nation. And then if she didn't obey God, he was going to end the bloodline, right? Or what's the story?
Yeah, so basically in Esther, something, just kind of the overarching quick story is there was like some hate towards an entire people group. She was representative of the Jews.
Oh, okay.
And so there was an attack from a specific individual. His name was Haman. And he wanted to take out the entire Jews. And this word got to her. And her uncle, who was her mentor, her advisor, who raised her, exhorted her to go before the king to be able to save her people. But she's like, you realize if I go before the king without a request, I can be killed. He has to extend his scepter of favor for me to even be able to speak to him. And I haven't spoken to him. He hasn't called me before him in 30 days. And so she tells this to Mordecai, and Mordecai responds back, and he says that don't think for yourself that you'll be spared, even though you're inside the walls, that all you and all your people will perish. And who knows that the help from God is going to come from somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he's like, you must have been brought to the kingdom for such a time as this.
Amen. Yes, that such as a time like this, okay?
Yes.
And I was thinking so a long time ago, because I used to live in Reno, okay? And one of my prayers was, God, before you take my life or something, because I was living by myself and I left my family in a difficult situation. So my prayer was, before my time has come, or your time has come, God, whatever comes first, that you allow me to be back with my family. Little did I know the pandemic was going to happen. Little did I know God was going to bring me back here with my family, and everything that I prayed for started to happen. Not just in my own personal life, but everything that the Bible started to, or not started, or has been already saying was going to happen, it started to be done. So I was like, oh, God's coming soon. So there's no time for me to sit here and be scared. So I'm very grateful, because after that radio show, it was crazy because they even told, so they're all Democrats. I was the only Republican. I'm a young girl. And then I heard the comments later. They were talking about me being a beauty queen. I'm like, great, now what? They said another beauty queen on this show. I was like, are they talking about Sharelle or something? I was like, excuse me.
But in good company.
But it just made me really practice those morals that I've had. And thankfully, at the end of the conversation, they did say that I should run for politics, and even though that we have different beliefs, that they still supported me. And that was just that's the supernatural hands of God. I just want to say thank you to you, because if you didn't tell me that, honestly, because there was a part of me, I was like, well, God, can you just let this slide? I always obey you every single other time. Can you just let me slide with this? But I'm grateful that I didn't. And I'm grateful for you. And so I don't know what else to say.
No, first, I just want to comment on that. I'm so proud of you for doing it. And I remember even like the conversations and the messages like leading up, and then afterwards you're like, Sharelle, I'm so glad I did it. And you were like so excited in my heart. Like I almost want to cry right now. But that's what it is. And he really is an incredible person. And so often, if you allow your differences to divide you, it will kill you. And when we can't have conversations of honor, ones of love, and we start from that place, we can disagree respectfully, which is fine. And then we can have more conversation around it if we want to go a little bit deeper or explain why we believe the way we believe. But if you come with love, if you come with honor, everything changes. And so I just love that it was a completely different generation going in there. You are young, you are beautiful, and not shying away from that. It's something that has given us an opportunity to go through doors. Just again, same thing as pageantry. It gives you an opportunity to be invited into places where sometimes you wouldn't be invited to. And so with that, I'm so proud, and I exhort anyone who's able to go with those pieces, equipped in love, equipped with the full armor, equipped with what they know that they have to share. You don't have to have all the answers, and that's fine. You can say, I do not know. You know, it's sometimes when things get heated, it can kind of spin, but when you're equipped with the Holy Spirit, he's so gracious at meeting you exactly where you are. And then you can have a conversation that is empowering, it is powerful, there's honor at the end, and then they say, hey, you know what? We disagree, but you're a good person, and so I want you to represent us. And that's one of the best compliments you could have. Amen.
Thank you for that. I think well, this is my standpoint, and maybe we may be on the same standpoint with this, but I am a huge believer that our agenda or our plans and our purpose is different from the plans that God has. Like his purpose for us is, he always has another agenda for whatever our reason is in certain conversations. Like the reason I'm saying that, I feel like when a platform was given to me, I had all these people telling me what's the right way of doing things, like don't speak too much about this. Maiekayla, you don't want to stir up anything or cancel generation. But like I said, and what you were telling me, if you don't move, if you don't share the love of God, who else is going to do it? So you, being a woman, and it's weird because I feel like that I never felt like I was limited as a woman, but now I'm getting into different places and I'm starting to see that's being questioned, and it's just crazy to me. But you being a woman in pageantry, being an entrepreneur, being also a Christian woman involved in politics, in your role of leadership, everything that you're doing, what was the greatest challenge that you've had?
Greatest challenge? That's a great question. I don't know that I have one succinct answer. And most recently, I would say something that really broke my heart that I didn't know was, I would say it was kind of two things. But recently, what broke my heart was seeing how many people take a couple of different verses out of the Bible out of context and say that women don't have a role in leadership when it comes to the church. And so it's been kind of a journey for me, and it's not necessarily a challenge because I want to love them up. First, my first emotion is I get super fired up, because I'm like, that's my personality. That's who I am. I get so fired up. But then I just sat with God and I was like, okay, how do I truly make a difference in this space versus just popping off and going, because you read through the comments, because there was a really prominent individual who posted something, on his social media. He's this incredible pastor and minister. He travels around and does lots of outreach across the entire country, the world, really.
Wow.
And there was a shirt and it said, "Women should know their role in the church."
Oh, wow.
And then the next piece, and then the next piece of it says apostle, prophet, teacher, evangelist. So it was beautiful because that's what he posted. So it was like it looked like it was going to be offensive. But he did that, and then for some reason, and I never go through and read comments, and I started reading the comments on it, and people were lambasting him. They were blasting him. They were just going through and be like, "That's not biblical." And they were taking 1 to 2 verses. And again, when you take things, when you don't know who it was written to and how it was written, then a lot of times people take it out of context. So you have to truly know where it's coming from and where the writer and who the writer was speaking to. So I've been going through on this journey talking about the Deborahs and talking about who she really was, because she was actually a judge. She actually led an entire people group in war, because one of the individuals who came to her, he's like, "Hey, come with me and let's fight this battle." And she's like, "Okay, well, because you're coming to me, the battle and the glory is going to go to a woman." But she was already a judge, which, I mean, how
she's
much
already
more?
Up there.
She's already like one of the highest in the land. You have the final say over any dispute that happens within the land. So just kind of going through the different women, the prophets, the judges, the influential individuals like Esther, but there's quite a few, like the prophetess Anna, things like that. So I've just been going through on this journey of just really sharing that in politics, I didn't realize as well how many individuals thought that women shouldn't have a place in politics, and some of the comments were really funny. I wouldn't say that they bothered me, just because I'm like, wow, God, my heart just hurts for these people that they don't understand, that they don't know. And I even had a woman up in northern Nevada come to the microphone and tell me that I need to let a real man do the job.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. What did you do? And it happened in person. It wasn't just like a comment or something.
No, it happened in person. And my response was, if I believed for one moment that one of these men were going to do the job, I wouldn't even be in this fight in the beginning. And so that was my response. And it was just like, that's true. That is honest. And not to think that men can't do what I can do. We're different. We're made different, and we're made to complement one another in the giftings and the abilities that we have. I am a very strong individual. I mean,
I want to ask questions now about what your husband thinks about all this.
I'm very strong, but I love my husband. I love that interaction. I love those roles as far as what a partnership looks like. And so for me, that's another thing that I want to elevate, is what that truly looks like. And, I personally need, because I am in the spotlight quite a bit in speaking engagements and events and things along those lines, I need someone who is going to come alongside and be my partner, but yet I can still honor him. I can still look to him as, the person who is going to cover me, protect me, take care of me. I love that. I'm not, in that world. So just as far as challenges, yes, there are challenges, but really if we focus on those challenges, if we dwell on those, we're going to stay stuck.
Yeah, that's true.
And I truly believe that God will turn every single thing around for our good.
Amen.
That's his promise.
Amen.
And so he also gives us favor wherever we
Yes.
go, and just having that spot. And even if there are technical challenges, if there are social norms, he will still elevate you to where you need to be elevated.
I love it. I truly believe that, I don't want to say that you are perfect at this, but you demonstrate so well just being hidden under God. And I love that. I could tell you're so still before him, and that's a beautiful thing, because the less of you and the more of God, like the supernatural touch and the moves that you're gonna make, there's no like barriers towards it.
There's not.
But no, that's beautiful. And actually, this is kind of off topic, but since you're talking about your being a married woman doing all of this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not married. I haven't been in a relationship in a very long time. And when I got into everything I was doing, I've actually, like, people who were mentoring me, I don't want to say mentoring me, but people who were like a lot older than me and got businesses, got platforms, they all told me, Maiekayla, don't get into a relationship. You never hear any of that? Really?
Keep going. I'm listening.
They all told me, Maiekayla, don't get into a relationship. And then I started doing like modeling gigs, singing gigs. Yeah. And then kind of like the gigs here, you're also I just spit. You're also like partying. It kind of puts you into like a whole nother atmosphere, right? What do you have to say for that? Like, because I feel like when they get you into modeling gigs and this type of model, or this type of girl, or whatever, or this type of job or entertainment world, I feel like the reason they say that is because, I don't want to say you'll be held back, but then you get what you get the image that they're trying to.
And that is absolutely, I'm going to challenge that mentality. I'm going to challenge that mentality for a lot of reasons. I would have to give so much credit to my husband and partner, because he has elevated me to the woman that I am today. He is the one, when we're at an event and I'm one of the speakers, I'm slated as one of the speakers, and he looks around and people are just kind of like giving these monotone speeches, and you know, there's you look around and the crowd looks like they need like defibrillators to wake up, you know. And he's like, all right, go up there. He gives me this like pump up speech. Go give them Sharelle, you know, go wake them up, go give them. And so he's behind the scenes cheering me on.
I love
encouraging me, and being someone that partners with me to make me the woman that I am.
So it sounds like he's not a distraction to you, but he's one to elevate you.
Yes,
that's
which
beautiful.
is kind of a second part to your statement in question. So many people get into relationships in unhealthy ways, which is why they're deterring you. They're saying, oh no, don't do it, because they've met people who have jealousy at the forefront. They've met people who don't understand, who aren't like where you are spiritual. There's so many different reasons why, but they do it because they don't want to be alone. And so relationships have looked pretty ugly and pretty unhealthy because they're not making sure that they're with that right person. And are we perfect? Absolutely not. But it is so powerful to be able to have a partner and someone who loves you, someone who trusts you, someone who empowers you and walks along that journey with you, and not only doesn't hold you back, but makes you the best version you can possibly be. And God designed it. So let's go back to that in the beginning. And I truly believe that we're supposed to get married. We're supposed to have families. We're supposed to exalt God in our families. And so just the antithesis of that holding you back, if that holds you back, it means that someone who wants you for the wrong reasons. And so it hasn't held me back once. It actually is, you know, I was on a big call like, hey, I'd like to invite you and I'd like to invite your husband to a massive event we're doing over at Allegiant Stadium. It's not holding me back in any way, shape, or form.
Wow. So that's good that they even include your husband on it. No, that's awesome. You know, okay, well, first of all, the reason I'm single has nothing to do with me just so I could be my own self and get all these gigs. I don't know actually why I'm single. I don't plan on staying single, but no, I love seeing marriages that, and I know that every marriage has their own trials. and no, I think it's a beautiful thing. I love love. And
I know. I'm gonna take these out.
Yeah. Oh, your ears are hurting.
Yeah.
No,
Like I can hear them like clinking to me. So keep going.
But no, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think for a while I was scared of love too, and it came to a point like everybody around me. I don't want to say like their relationships were falling apart. So.
Right.
And I don't know, like when I remember when I first got single, my friends were telling me like, Maiekayla, you're so young, like go out and stuff. And I think it came to a point that I was so like addicted to just getting myself together and just focus on me. And then now like everybody around me, there not a lot of people are having solid relationships, and you guys are trying out things without love even being part of it,
right? And
then it's like you're numbing one. You're not even numbing one part. You're numbing so many different areas in a relationship, and I feel like that also comes down to just like families in general. And I'm not saying my family's perfect, but I do want to emphasize and like put out there like keep fighting for your guys' families, even if it doesn't make sense. Like, oh, why am I gonna deal with this person? Like, sometimes people, they build themselves up so much where like I don't have to put up with this nonsense and stuff. But at the same time, you just have to humble yourself and meet people where they're at. Show some grace.
Grace is so important. And honestly, like it's been a journey for me, and I've grown so much even in learning how to love in the midst of things of conflict, just with my husband and I, or family individuals and I, where we differ on so many different topics. But it really is the growth in you that enables you to love them exactly where they are. And I just, listening to you, it makes me so happy because you're so wise beyond, you're taking that time to analyze what's going on around you, to say, okay, it's not because I just want to be a strong woman. Yes, it is important to work on ourselves. Yes, it is important to grow. Like that is absolutely something that we need to do. But I love that. It's your family values and where your mind is so beautiful, and that's exactly where you need to be. And God's going to bring the absolute best person. It's like if you have that in mind, if you believe
in Jesus' name, I'm proclaiming it right now.
And if you believe that that's the whole thing, and you're going to stand on that, and you're not going to settle for someone who doesn't make you the best version of yourself, and even though you have growth to do as far as the relationship, because people are from completely different backgrounds, they have completely different walks of life, but you can come to a place to where you know that no matter what, love is at the center, Christ is at the center, family's at the center, and you're going to work through. It's like you have the tools to work through any conflict that comes through in life.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yes, we need more women like you in this, because I ain't gonna lie, when I got into everything, I was surrounded by a bunch of people who were single, a bunch of people like, so it got me into a place where like guys would hug me, but I was like, is it with a different meaning? And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're just friends, so okay. And then I find out later like they're married, and then it's just like I'm just surrounded by too many people whose values are in different places and making me question certain values. Like, is this correct or is this not correct? And then it makes me move a certain way. Like, if I hug a certain way, does this mean this? Like, I don't want to be in that space, but I do believe that we should get more people like you. If there's no more duplicates like you, I hope I hope you still stay active and keep shining your light.
In politics, I know, I love
and everything, girl. I love it. Thank you. Everything. But this was a great talk. Like, I loved everything we talked about.
I do too. Something I want to personally ask you, I know this is the kind of, but I really want to talk about your consulting and like what you're doing with that just really quickly.
Thank you.
Because I think something that I've seen throughout pageantry is some people try, they really have the best of intentions and they aren't able to move things forward. And I've been watching you and you're moving your consulting company forward. You have all these different events and gatherings and community events. So I want you to kind of share, how do other pageant queens get involved with you? How do they reach out to you? Things like that. So
well, thank you for watching me and stalking me.
Yes.
I love the eyes on me. But no, honestly, when it comes to events, I do have different events, whether they're like public events, conferences or whatever it is. You guys can find me on Instagram. I'm always posting. And honestly, the best way, if you guys ever want to work with me, is going to these events. I guess like the one thing that irks me is when people, because a lot of my events, you do get like a lot of free stuff. One thing that irks me is people who's just there to freeload. If you really care about your platform, if you care about what your friends are doing, and then over time, you're going to be becoming friends with other entrepreneurs. If you respect them enough, like, care about their business. Don't just think about how can I get an endorsement? How can I get sponsored? How can I make myself look better? How can I become more fancy or whatever? Like, care about what these people are standing for. Think about a business-minded person. Like, try to get them sales. Like, you know, but yeah, I would love to give other girls platforms. I don't want to just say like handouts. No. Because I think a lot of people, when you are given a pageantry platform, some of them are already expecting like, oh, I'm gonna be getting these interviews and stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I'm very strict with who I invite on my show, because the thing is, a lot of you guys have platforms, but you guys have anything to offer. It's very true. So that's what I look out for. And sometimes there are a lot of beauty queens, they're kind of fishing off the same ideas, and nothing wrong with that. It's okay if you guys have the same values. But I do like working with people who sees a bigger picture, who I don't like the drama stuff. I don't need to hear who's not doing good or whatever. If you're really about building each other, that's what I care about. That's so good. And because especially like if you're a woman of God, and even if you're not a woman of God, okay, and you don't believe in God, you know, you could still have values. But I'm telling you, and I believe that you've probably gone through this too, where your faith is tested, and at the end of the day, we're accountable to God. So I have no time for y'all thinking about other people's opinions.
No, that's so good, and I'm glad you were reiterating that, because that's healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries. It's very good, but I think that there is something about empowering one another. Just like you're saying, it's truly believing and wanting, and when you serve their vision, when you serve what they're doing, their vision, then God really rewards that, and I love that. I think the best thing I would have to say for any beauty queen or anybody on a platform, you should have a heart that wants to serve and not to be served. So that's the biggest difference that you're going to see. There you go. Yep. Yeah, but you guys, no, thank you for asking me that. I love what I do. I actually went to school for business marketing. It's so crazy because when I came out here to Vegas, I wasn't yet done with my degree, and then I got into the pageantry, and I didn't know anything about pageantry, but I had a busy schedule, so I was asking Ellen Stokes. She's the owner of Fabulous Pageants. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, she has she has a heart for the girls to like. It makes her happy seeing the girls like develop and all of that stuff, and I think it's beautiful. But she asked me about like, okay, Maiekayla, you have this idea, you're going to be in charge of hosting this event, and this is when I was a participant competing. And I didn't know too much, but I went into it, and because I had a clothing business beforehand, and I already knew the burdens of a business, right? So I went into it because I was hoping that I could sell my clothes. Right. But it ended up happening was I seen, like, my first event, there wasn't a lot of people. Yeah. But I had businesses who were depending on my platform, depending on the girls' platforms, depending on the event itself to make sales or to bring awareness. And I felt the burden. That's when I really felt the burden of businesses, because I was like, a lot of businesses are depending on influencers and other people with platforms to advertise their stuff. And collaborate, Yes, to collaborate. And it does break my heart when you have people who are like, oh, well, you should pay me for this, or stuff like that. Like I should be getting paid. And just that type of mindset, it does hurt me, because sometimes these businesses are spending hundreds and thousands on advertisements for stuff where they could have gotten better results out of it somewhere else. An ROI, Yes. So that's why I'm very passionate. Like, there are people out there who has magazines that has no followers or no sales on those magazines, but they're selling
$1,000 pages to be
Yes.
part of that magazine.
Yes.
And so those are things you have to be aware of. It may sound good, but you have to check your numbers. So that's
Yep.
why I'm very passionate when it comes to sharing about people's business, building brands, bring awareness to certain things.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, am I going to let my friend waste their money to
Right.
think that, like, is this a manipulation game here?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very passionate about it. And yeah, if you guys want to connect with me, I help businesses get marketed. I get them on this show. I get them on other businesses. I get them contracted so they could sell at different events and advertise and get the right marketing that they
Yeah.
need.
Perfect. Well, I need to connect with you because we're going to have vendors.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
got lots of vendors, actually.
We want to make sure, again, I'm very selective as well because
I
we want to
love
have
that.
high quality, you know,
No, I
and people
love
of
that.
integrity that are coming in. But yeah, we'll have to have a conversation about that for the Roar Fest.
Yay. Thank you. Well, Sharelle, this was an awesome conversation. This was beautiful. I wish nothing but the best for you. Where should we be following you? What's the best way to contact you if you want us to contact you?
Yeah, I would love to stay in touch. So just Sharelle Mendenhall, you can find me on all the different platforms. I'm maxed out on Facebook. So find me on Instagram, Sharelle Mendenhall. I'm on there. And Instagram, I'm there on TikTok.
Wow.
I'm there on Threads. You can find Sharelle Mendenhall across the board. And if you would like to be a partner with the Roar Fest, just email Sharelle Mendenhall at theroarfest.com.
Love
and
it.
if you're a vendor, make sure you check in with Maiekayla so that she can get you plugged in, because we will go through a very selective process because we want the best.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, guys. So you got the information. Make sure to follow and email, and we'll see you next time.